going, freaks, fans, and friends? It is the Pope of Plastic from the Cathedral and Model Building. Normally, I would be over at Harry's doing a beautiful vintage unboxing, but Steve today decided he was going to go out on his yacht, and therefore I wasn't going to be able to film. So I said, you know what, I'm going to do a video on my own anyway and catch you all up on what I've been up to and share with you my current build that I'm working on. So this isn't really a vintage unboxing today. In this video, it's more of a, let me show you that I actually build models, and here is the model that I'm currently working on. I did get a call from Steve a little while ago saying that his yacht trip was canceled due to some unforeseen circumstances, and therefore he could do the video, but by that time it was a little too late and I'd already had other things planned. So anyway, we're going to miss Steve in this episode. Next week we will be back at Harry's and we will do a vintage model unboxing from Harry's. Harry is a wonderful, wonderful man, and he's got lots of vintage models for me to unbox well into the future, and we will continue to do that. So today, I hope you enjoy what I'm working on currently. Now, some of you know I am a big fan of Zoukei Mura, and in fact, I actually get to do builds for Zoukei Mura. They let me review their new models, their newest models, and I'm honored that they allow me to do this. And I respect their company so much, and I really never have anything negative to say about Zoukei Mura, and truly from the bottom of my heart. And if this wasn't true, I would be honest with you. I'd say, hey, you know, Zoukei Mura is terrible, but the opposite is true. Zoukei Mura still, after building a few of these, are the best aircraft models, I think, in the hobby world, period. Hands down, I think the best fit, the best molding, the best instructions. It goes on and on and on. And another thing that I absolutely love is that they use zero photo etched in their kits. I'm not a big fan of photo etched. I don't see a huge need for it, but what are you going to do? I mean, I'll use it when I have to use it, or it's in the kit. I'll of course use it, but Zoukei Mura doesn't seem to think they really need photo etch, which I think is absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So today, let me show you what I'm working on. I'm nearly done. I'm probably about 90% done working on the Zoukei Mura 1/48 scale F4 Phantom, the Wild Weasel, which is a Vietnam era U.S. Air Force Phantom. Now, I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of the Phantom. I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of the Vietnam era aircraft. I think they're just, I guess it's probably because it's when I grew up. I grew up I was born in 1968, and I spent, the 1970s is when I started building models. My brother built a lot of these aircraft along with World War II, and I just love the Phantom, and this model has been exceptionally fun to do, and I would put it on par. If you've ever built a Tamiya 1/32 scale Phantom, I would say the Zoukei Mura is very similar to the 1/32 scale, but in a 1/48 scale version, except I think it has even more detail than the 1/32 scale Tamiya F4 Phantoms do, which is saying something, because I think the Tamiya F4 Phantoms were kind of the benchmark until I built one of these Zoukei Muras, and I can tell you, they are just unbelievable, unbelievable. So let me just kind of show you the kit itself. This is the kit that I've been building, the F4 Phantom Wild Weasel 2, the Phantom 2, I'm sorry, Wild Weasel. And it is a great kit. Is it expensive? For a 1/48 scale, yes, it's on the expensive side, but what you're getting is full engines, full cockpit, armament, incredibly detailed everything, and it is far, far and away the best 1/48 scale Phantom that there is out there, in my opinion. And I've built a lot of Phantoms, so I think I can say that from somebody who's built a few. And the assembly of it goes nearly flawlessly. And that is due to fit, the molding, the plastic. The instructions are so well done that the thing just goes together like a beautiful, beautiful dream, and it just keeps getting better. The decals are fantastic. They're from Cartograph, which, if you know me, I love Cartograph. I think they're the best decals in the world because they're screen printed and they're meticulous, and the thickness, I think, is perfect. You almost don't need any kind of solve set for the decals, and so I'm a big fan of those too. So all the way around, Zoukei Mura really puts the time and effort into producing an absolutely fantastic kit, and you can tell they love what they do by the quality of the kit and the instructions and everything else. And I happen to know these folks a little bit. I've never met them in person, but I will be at the IPMS here coming up shortly, and you can just tell they absolutely love what they do. And it spills over into the actual product itself, from meticulous research, and it just goes on and on and on and on. So anyway, so this is the box, which is absolutely beautiful. If you can see that, an absolutely beautiful, stunning box art. It's exactly what you would want in a model box, showing you the finished product that you can aspire to and the different versions that you can build. And let's get to the instructions. The instructions are not an instruction pamphlet, it's an instruction book. It really is. And it's just, and I've done a review of this kit before. It's just, they go through every single angle of how it needs to be assembled. There's no guesswork. Because they give you the view of the assembly in a bunch of different ways and angles, it's really kind of easy to understand, even though it might look complicated. And they really are just incredible with their instructions. I think they're the best instructions in model building today, hands down. And I will say this, that just because the instructions are easy to follow and the molding is great and everything else, this is not a kit for a beginner. It really isn't. You really have to have some experience, especially obviously when it comes to the painting and the painting techniques, and even some of the assembly. Some of the assembly for somebody who hasn't built models before might be a little tricky for somebody just starting out. So I really wouldn't recommend this as your first model kit. Stick to something like 1/72 scale, something a little more simple. But if you're an intermediate model builder, I don't think you'll have much problem. And look, if you're a beginner and you absolutely have to buy a Phantom, then by all means get it and give it a shot. I think, you'll probably be successful, but you'll struggle a little bit, and that's why people like me are here. I'm happy to help you. You can always go to my website, thepopoplastic.com. You can suggest a one-on-one session with me, which I sell by the hour, and I'd be happy to work with you. If you wanted to build something like this and you don't have any experience, I could certainly help you. So anyway, so that is the instruction booklet. Let me show you the model kit. Now, like I said, this is about 90% done. I've just started on the decals, and let me show you what we got here. This is her in 1/48 scale. It actually, it feels, because of all the detail and everything, it feels like a bigger model. Okay, these are not on permanently right now. These will be in the raised position. So let me move these out of the way here, so you can kind of see the detail in the cockpit itself is equal to or better than most 1/32 scale Phantom kits. It does come with masks for masking the canopy, which is always a plus. The rear section is incredibly beautifully molded, so it really makes for doing beautiful, beautiful paint work. And that's really, on a Phantom, that's kind of my favorite part of the whole thing, is doing that exhaust area. I kind of can't wait to get to that part of it. But you can see I really had to do very little filling on this. I mean, even if a model is perfect, fits perfect, and there's no seam really visible, I still sand it, still putty it usually. And even though the fit on this is nearly perfect, I still had to do a little bit of sanding. Now, let me talk about this camo job for somebody who wants to do something like this. This camo job, and I've done thousands of camo jobs. This camo job is not the easiest camo, especially if you're just starting out. It'll challenge you. I use what we call the silly putty technique, and the silly putty technique is I roll out thin strips of silly putty. You can get it in my Amazon store. Everything that I use is in my Amazon store. So if you want to get everything that I use every single day, and I build every day, go to amazon.com/shop/the Pope of Plastic, and you can find everything I use. So silly putty, you roll it out into thin strips, and then you meticulously look at the camo pattern, and you sit there with the silly putty, and you move it into the exact forms that you want. I usually start with lightest to darkest when I do my camo patterns, and I'll start with the tan. So I'll get all the shapes out, then I'll airbrush that area, pull the silly putty off, mask off everything you don't, want to be tan. And then you'll go and you'll do the next color, which would be the lighter green. Spray that, and then you would go and you would do the olive drab at the end. But it sounds simple, but it's going to take you a little while, and you're going to be challenged if you've never done this kind of complex camo pattern. It's one of the more difficult ones to do to make look good and look correct. And plus, on these Vietnam F4 Phantoms, the camo patterns were fairly consistent. So whereas in what I'm getting to is on a World War II aircraft, you kind of have a lot of leeway. A lot of those paints were painted out in the field. They were painted quickly, so the camo patterns aren't super consistent. So you can kind of have some free will to kind of do what you want on those, and maybe some people argue with me on that. But when I'm doing a World War II camo pattern, yeah, I'm trying to get it to look similar, but I know that in real life they varied and they were all over the place. So I'm not that concerned about it in the end. On a Phantom such as this, they were very consistent as far as what the camo pattern looked like. And I am following that as closely as I can on this. Plus, these are not, even though they look like standard colors, olive drab, forest green, and a desert tan, these colors are not those. They're not, at least the way that I do it is, I do a lot of studying of the different colors, and then I mix my own colors. So all the colors you see here are not standard just right out of a jar. They're all custom mixed colors. On the nose of the Phantom, you'll see it's a semi-gloss, or what I would call a satin black. And the way that I like to do my satin black is I paint it flat black. And once the flat black is dry, I like to go back and carefully, where is it? I use this magical substance, magical, black shoe polish, and I take a cotton swab, just like you were doing a pair of, Army boots. When I was in the Air Force, I polished many a pair of boots. So I do the same thing, a cotton swab, and then I buff the flat black with shoe polish, and then I gently wipe it all away and buff it until I get a beautiful semi-gloss black. Now people say, why don't you just do semi-gloss paint? A lot of times the semi-gloss looks too glossy. And I found a long time ago that doing this technique over flat black gives me the look that I want. And then also, yes, all these paints that you see here in the camo pattern are flat. They're flat paints. And when I painted this, it was very, very flat. All the colors were very, very flat. But if you look at this, you'll see I've got a very slight sheen to it, which I find to be very, very realistic. And so I was around a lot of these aircraft in the military, so I know what they look like. I have photographs and all sorts of cool stuff. The way that I like to achieve that is once I get the whole thing painted, and it also, this helps to level out all the paint. If you have kind of little tiny bumps or dust stuck in the paint, I use a really fine steel wool, a very fine steel wool, and I just go and I just buff. Very gently, I just go over the whole model, and I do this, the whole thing, and you'll be amazed at how nice and smooth and beautiful the paint looks after you do this. Not after a glossy finish, I'm not polishing it, I'm just giving it a nice, smooth surface, and I love that the way that that does this. Doing all of the exhaust on here, which looks very realistic, is a few different techniques. It's first painting with gunmetal, and then after I paint with gunmetal, I will dry brush flat aluminum, and then I will follow it with maybe a little rub and buff to brighten up the highest details, and then go and buff that out so everything kind of pops. And then what I will do is I will go back with chalk pastel, and I will go in with a paintbrush, a kind of a coarse paintbrush, and I will go in and I will work in all of the black chalk, and then I will remove some of that, and then I will go back and I'll keep working it over and over and over till I get that dirty exhaust look. And which is, you know, if you've never done it before, it's going to take you a little while, but just keep practicing. You know, use an old model, practice the techniques all over and over and over. Those of you who are asking, you know, what are you talking about, chalk pastels? Well, these are my secret to weathering, okay? So these are chalk pastels. And I live and die by these chalk pastels for my weathering. You can see I use a ton of black, I use a ton of gray, I use some browns, I use some orange. They are just the best. They are the most useful tool. And listen, you don't need to buy those stupid, expensive powdered pastels from like AK and all these other companies, Tamiya. You can literally go to my store and you can get these for this complete set for about, I think, $15 or something. And let me tell you something. These will last you forever, nearly forever. I've been using this set for well over a year, and I didn't even need to buy this set. I still had another set that was perfectly good, but I got antsy and I loved all the different colors, and I said, you know, I'm gonna buy another set, and I did. So anyway, these are all in my store. You will love, and I use these for everything: cars, planes, trains, tanks, whatever. So anyway, so that is that. What else can I tell you? This is just a great model. It's going to be a great model. I'm in the process of doing all the decals right now, as you can see. And once I get all the decals on, then I will do a nice coat of flat clear. Once the flat clear is dry, I will go back with my trusty steel wool and I'll smooth everything out and give it that back unit. I will go back to that nice uniform kind of slight sheen and smoothness of everything. And then once I do that, I will be able to do, oh, I lost one of my exhausts. Oh, it wasn't glued in. I lost an exhaust. So maybe you can see that. Anyway, once all of that is done, then I will go in and do the weathering. The weathering using pastels. I will do all the panel lines. I will do probably a little bit more exhaust. I'll be doing soot. Then I will go in and I will do the metal, worn areas. In Vietnam, these aircraft were very, very worn out, dirty, and I'm going to be doing that on this one. So in a video soon, when I get this all done, I'll do another one and I'll post on my YouTube Shorts. I'll do a video of the weathering and the completed model. But But what a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful model. I can't recommend this enough. I mean, if you like F4 Phantoms as much as I do, the 1/48 scale Zoukei Mura is fantastic. The other great thing about it is it's not overly huge, so you can easily display this on a shelf or on your desk, you know, at work or whatever, and it'll just make for a beautiful, beautiful display piece. So anyway, that's what I've got going on, and I'm sorry I didn't do a vintage unboxing today, but I wanted to show you something. I'm still here. I'm not Steve. I'm not out, you know, lounging around on some yacht in my banana hammock, you know, sipping Harvey Wallbangers or whatever. I'm here. I'm model building. I'm going to be working on this Phantom here shortly, and all I'll ask you is this. Please subscribe, share this video, tell your friends. It might help somebody to get into the hobby of model building. Or they can just stare at me and say, who's this Nudnik? And you say, oh, that's the dopey Popoplastic, the model builder. But if you could share it, and if you really want to help me out, you can actually be an actual subscriber, you know, who subscribes and pays a little something once a month. And with that, if you do that, I'll do a one-on-one with you for free as part of your subscription if you want to, you know, pay the monthly subscription. And we'll also do some other fun things for subscribers that are doing the monthly things, which means you become a bishop in the Cathedral of Model Building. And we have a lot of fun. We have a great community, and I'm continuing to build the community on a daily basis. And we want you to stick around and be a part of it. Ultimately, I want you to build models. If you don't build models, and if you haven't built models in a long time and you're just stumbling by, it's fantastic to get into. And like with me, I mean, it saved my life, you know, from alcoholism. And I'm not ashamed to say that. So it is something that is fantastic, and it's tactile, gets you off the computer. It's fun. At the end of the day, when it is finished, you have something you can be proud of, and it's just a great thing. It also brings families together. Doing this with your daughter or your son or your grandson or whatever, you're going to have a great time and nice bonding experience. Plus you get to learn about the history and everything else. And listen, Popoplastic's here to help you. So go to my website, reach out to me if you want, send me a message on here. I'm always happy to help. And I'm just happy that you stopped by today to watch this video. I'm going to go back and I'm going to get this F4 Phantom Wild Weasel wrapped up. And we're going to have a lot of fun doing that. And then we'll move on to something else. And I'm not sure what it's going to be next, but I'll be deciding soon. So thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you have a great time model building. And again, if I can help you, let me know. thepopoplastic.com, thepopoplastic.com. You can also watch me build all the time on TikTok, at thepopoplastic on TikTok. Feel free to shoot me a message on here, but remember, share and subscribe. I'd appreciate it so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll see you next week when we do another vintage unboxing from Harry's. Once Steve is off the yacht, we will do the unboxing from Harry's. I hope he's not too sunburned or had too many Harvey Wallbangers, but I'm sure he'll be fine by next Friday. All right, everybody, I'll see you soon. This is the Popoplastic. Have a great one.